Hey guys, so I don't normally upload Showdown videos because I'm not competitive at all, but I do like to play on Showdown. I mainly play random battles because I like the fact that I'm just assigned a random selection of 6 Pokemon and so is my opponent, and you just kind of deal with the cards that you're dealt. And it doesn't really involve too much skill because it's all random, but at the same time, it does depending on how close knit your team is, and there is still a large proportion of competitive knowledge needed, because the sets are kind of generic, so you can kind of predict certain sets. But the reason I'm uploading this, the reason is twofold. One is because this person, they were quite comical. They were quite confident that they were going to win because they did have a strong lead and they did play really well. I'll give them that. But secondly, I kind of liked how I played as well, because normally I sack off Pokemon way too soon. And today I thought, no, let me try and see if there's uses in, even if a Pokemon's on 1% health, like see if it comes in handy. So I was quite proud of that, and I will show you the match. So it starts off with Komodo and Toxapex. I thought I was being really smart here. I'm just going to pause. I thought he was going to go for that move. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called something, not changing scales, but the one that gives him a +1 in all of his stats, but it does take away some of his health. So I thought I'd be smart and go for a haze to predict that, but unfortunately he switched that, probably predicting that I have haze, so I didn't want to set up. Unfortunately, I do get hit by a Psyshock, but the reason I stayed in was because I thought, well, I have the Regenerator ability. I'm very likely to survive at least one hit, so I can switch out the next turn. And I go for a Toxic, forgetting that Starmie has Natural Cure. But I thought at the time, I can get some residual damage with that Toxic and then switch out in the meantime to get some health back. So that's exactly what happens here. He does go into Kyurem though, Kyurem White, and I switch into Jinx. And I thought, this is great. I'll risk going for a Focus Blast here for a super effective hit, because I, at this point, didn't care. I thought I'd rather get the damage. And I'm quite surprised that he outsped me, but presumably he had the Choice Scarf there. But that's not what's interesting. What's interesting is that Jinx actually survived a Fire-type move. I believe Fusion Flare is a Fire-type move. And I have the Dry Skin ability, meaning that Fire-type moves do even more damage. But I wasn't complaining. Go for Focus Blast. No hacks there. Well, I don't think it mattered. I think the Focus Blast would have killed anyway, because Jinx has an amazing special attack stat. But then when he brings out his Aegislash, I know it's pronounced Aegislash, but it just rolls off the tongue better saying Aegislash. Plus, Aegislash to me sounds pretentious. I'm not going to say it. Anyway, it resists all of my moves, so I thought, no way am I staying in. I'm going to Toxapex. Little did I know he was going to set up a King Shield, and I thought I need to put some offensive pressure on him. He does go for a Shadow Ball, which does a fair amount of damage, and I thought I'll use a Skull to break the sub, and I was quite happy with that. So he doesn't have the sub up. He does switch out, predicting I'd go for the Skull, which I do, but the only reason I went for the predictable move here was I didn't want to over-predict and do something like a Toxic, because then, first of all, the reward wasn't that great, because if he did switch into Starmie like he did, Starmie has Natural Cure, and so it would get rid of that poison that it's accumulated. And secondly, say he didn't switch out, I would have just wasted a turn, because Aegislash wouldn't be affected by Toxic. So I thought, fudge it, I'll go for the obvious play here. I do, however, switch out because I didn't want to go for another Psychic, thinking it would go for a Dry Skin. Dry Skin? Go for a Water type move. I thought I'd get a Dry Skin kind of healing there, but I'm really stupid because Toxapex is weak to Psychic. He would obviously go for a Psychic move here. But there you go. I thought, well, that was a wasted turn. Let me switch out because I do need Jinx. Go into my Milotic, which tanked the Psyshock really well. And I thought here, this is great. I can just go for a Scald. And I was hoping for a burn here, but I didn't get one. But it's not too important because this Aegislash was revealed to only be running Shadow Ball. But I do get the burn on that turn. It's unfortunate I get the Toxic here. I get hit by Toxic, but you know what? It's all good in the hood because I have the Marvel Scale ability, which I believe works for Toxic as well. So I thought, this is fine. This is fine. He does go for a King Shield, which is kind of obvious, and I'm annoyed that I didn't switch out and bait that. But there you go. But I thought, you know what? Forget this. I'm not playing these games. I'm going to switch out into Toxapex. He does, however, go for the Shadow Ball, which crits and gets a sped F drop. But I kind of saw this going into my favour. Now you might be thinking, how is this going into your favour? Well, I thought, first of all, I've got a special defense drop and a lot of health has been taken. But I was relying on my regenerator ability here, and I thought, this is fine, this is fine. The reason I didn't want to stay in with my low tick was because then it would take too much damage from Toxic, and I thought this was kind of like a free switch. So now I'm going to switch again, obviously, which I guess it is an obvious play, but I thought, you know what, I want my Toxapex to kind of be a pivot here. Go into Dunsparce, anticipating the Shadow Ball, and luckily, you know, I do go into Dunsparce, who is immune to it. And at this point, I do switch out again because I realised I didn't check Dunsparce's moves, but it only has a normal type move, which Aegislash isn't affected by, and Rock Slide, which isn't very effective. So I thought, I didn't think this through, went back into Toxapex, and he goes for a Toxic, which this seemed like a pro play. It wasn't. I just didn't think things through. But yeah, that was fine. So he does switch out in Starmie, and I go for the obvious gold, but the thing is I didn't want to over-predict here. Okie dokie, so now I switch back into my low tick. He goes for a recover, which is kind of obvious, but also I didn't know he had recover, so it was quite surprising at the same time. I go into Dunsparce because I thought that I'd be able to wall this Starmie. But I didn't really know what I was doing because this was kind of like a stall war here, because all it was, I might even skip it, but I might not, just to show you, but we were kind of just back and forth, roosting and recovering and all of that jazz. But I thought Jinx might as well get some health back, you know, and get some chip damage on the Starmie. Here, I'm kind of annoyed that I fell for his trap where he went for recover, but I really didn't want to lose Jinx here, so I did switch out. But what that allowed him to do is go for a recover, which is a little bit unfortunate for me because this Starmie just refuses to faint. I did misspeak, so this is where the back and forth was, and I'm quite surprised I didn't get any burns or anything of the sort. And I finally get a crit, and I thought, this is great, but I was anticipating a recover, but it's all good in the hood, you know, I'm just going to keep that pressure on him. But at this point I thought, forget it, like, I'll also go for a roost. If you want to play the roost war, or recover war, I'll do it as well. And so I do switch out, I get some dry skin recovery, which I thought was pretty nice. But my back is against the wall here, because I'm not really sure what to do. But I go for an Ice Beam just to get some damage, at least, even though it's a resisted hit. Go back into Dunsparce. And do you see what I mean? Just repeat, repeat, repeat. So this is kind of like, yeah, this is not fun. And here, I'm kind of walled by Aegislash, so I go back into Toxapex, and again, it's like a repeat of earlier, so it's a wall between Toxapex and Aegislash where I'm going for Scald, he's going for Shadow Ball, Substitute, all of that jazz. I do get some damage on Starmie, which I think is really cool. I do obviously switch out because I still want to keep my Toxapex. He goes for a Scald here, and I'm okay with it at this point. I thought, well, I might as well get some damage on this Starmie, get a Body Slam, and didn't get any paralysis, but it's all good in the hood. I'll go for my own roost because I knew he'd also go for a recover. Go for a Body Slam, and he finally gets paralyzed. But the thing is, I kind of thought, well, he's very likely to switch out now because I might even outspeed with his speed drop, and he might not even be able to attack this turn. So I thought, well, I'm not risking him going into Aegislash. I might as well do some of my own trickery here and get the advantage. So I go back into Toxapex. Unfortunately, my predictions were correct, and he does go into Aegislash, so I thought, cool, I can just go for a Scald here. Unfortunately, he goes into his Explode, which he hasn't revealed before, and it doesn't do much damage. Goes for a Boom Burst. To be honest, I would like to say I sacked off Dunsparce here, but I kind of thought I would survive one hit, but I didn't, very likely because his Choice Specs. I go into Regidrago. I thought I'd go for a Dragon Dance, but this is the hilarious bit where he told me, I am going to kick your ass into next year, which is what prompted this video. So yeah, this is funny because I tried to slap in his face. He does anticipate that I would go for the Max Knuckle, so he goes into Aegislash, which is immune to fighting. So I thought, forget it, I might as well just put some pressure on him and go for a Dragon type move because I mean, I could have gone for an electric move here, but I didn't want to risk it, so yeah, there we go. I do unfortunately lose my Dynamax here, but it's all good. I go for an Outrage to get some pressure onto Cinderace because I knew I would outspeed with +1 speed, and he brings back his Exploud, who Dynamaxes. I thought I'd get some damage with my Outrage onto Exploud, and I'm quite happy with the damage, and I'm happy for Regidrago to go down here. So now with Toxapex, I was just going to intend on keep recovering so that, in essence, he's wasted his Dynamax, just like he made me waste my Dynamax. It's kind of tit for tat here. So yeah, this is what happens. He's probably annoyed. He does go for a Boom Burst, which does a shitload of damage. But I'm okay with this because I intend on switching out again to get some Regenerator recovery and go with Milotic. I kind of was okay with Milotic going down here because I kind of lost the need for her at this point. But fortunately I do pick up the kill on Exploud, and I really want to close up the gap here because this Starmie is being really problematic for me. So yeah, Milotic goes down. I thought here I could just go for a Draco and get some nice damage on the Komodo, and I didn't want to switch out, so I went for another Draco, which unfortunately missed. And this is where he goes for his Clanging Scales. I thought this is cool, I might as well just keep spamming Draco Meteor here because I don't really care about my special attack drop here. But I did want to roost up to get my health back up, and I have Toxic. I didn't reveal it before, but there we go. So now he's forced, you know, he's back against the wall where I can just keep recovering and roosting spam. But I think this is where he realized, oh jolly gosh, he will not win. And so he didn't even forfeit, he just disconnected and I had to wait 30 seconds to win. But I thought this was kind of hilarious that he was so cocky. Maybe he wasn't cocky and he just has that personality where he's joking, but I thought that was quite comical. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I thought I'd start off this year with a bang. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave this video a big thumbs up because that does help me out. And if you are watching and you're not subscribed, consider subscribing because I occasionally make some entertaining YouTube videos. But with all of that being said, I'll see you guys whenever I upload next.